Hey guys, so today we're going to do a full walkthrough tour of my Han Solo Element camper, and the focus of this Element camper is that it's a solo camper. It's not really meant for two people or more than that. There is opportunity to drive more than one person. For instance, this chair right here does have functioning seat belts, so I can drive two people, but for the most part, the concept of this camper build was just one person that could travel around and maybe have a mobile office and work on the road. So let's take a look at everything. All right, first, so let's just take a quick look around. 2004 Honda Element. Up top, I have a rack and this Vivor canopy. I got 200 watts of solar panels on top. These Honda Elements have these suicide double doors. They're great. Refrigerator, storage. Got my chair slash bed. We'll take a look at that in a bit. My cabinet, cooking station. We'll look at that. Back view. Here I have my charger and my power station. We'll take a look at that later in more depth. All right, let's start digging in. All right, so first up on the outside, let's go with the outside stuff. I have this 200-watt flexible solar panel up here. This is a Bouge RV solar panel. You can see it's pretty big. It's 200 watts and it lays inside my roof rack. So it's actually quite stealth. Nobody knows anything about it. And also connected to that roof rack is this awning. And let's take a look at this awning. The roof. I didn't want to take it out again, so I'm showing you footage from a previous video where I set it up. Yeah, it's got these poles in here. Walk around. I think it's a pretty good looking awning. This awning. The roof rack is this nylite roof rack, and you can see it's a big roof rack. It's basically the length of my whole roof. So you can put a lot of stuff back there, but honestly, I don't put much stuff back here. It's just mainly the solar panels. I might put a water container up there one day, a shower, but that's a different video. All right, inside, first thing we're going to look at is the bed. That's the most important thing in campers. You got to have a bed. So this bed is basically just a futon mattress that I have, and the frame of the bed is this wood frame that I made using the old chair frame itself. And I'm going to remove this mattress and show you what I mean by that. So what I did was I removed the upholstery and I kept the frame of the chair, so the seat belt and everything will still work. I just took out all the cushion and the upholstery, and again, it'll still work the way the chair was originally meant to work. And this will lay flat, and this will be my bed, but it won't be long enough by itself. Of course, we need an extension, so let's look at the extension. So the leg extension works really easy. I have this leg right here that comes out, and I extend it fully like that. I have a couple of pins to hold it in place, just like that. And you can see now I have a full bed. I think it's 76 or 78 inches long, something like that. Down here at the base, I have this leg right here that's just on a hinge, so it comes out really easy. and it's not going anywhere with those pins there. Down underneath, there's some storage, and we'll take a look at what I put down underneath. But this leg is a little bit, needs a little bit more height than down here. So what I do is I put it on a hinge, and because of that hinge, it will now slide back and fit underneath. So you can see the angle. So now it fits, and there's a hole here, so I could still get to the things that I stored underneath. And the best part about it is it still works like the original Honda seats. It still has a functioning seat belt, and the seat belts do still work, and these seats still fold up. So one of the coolest things about the Honda Element are these seats that fold up. But so I was able to maintain that functionality still. So, if I want to use this car as some kind of work vehicle or anything like that to carry more items, maybe put a dirt bike or something back here, I could do that pretty easily by just lifting up the seat, and that still works out. And it goes back down. All right, so now let's get that mattress back on. All right, as you can see, it's this 4-inch single bed mattress, futon, and it's mainly made for guests in the house or things like that, but I'm using it for the camper. Let's climb in to see how well I fit. You can see there's plenty of room. I'm 5'8", and there's still plenty of room for me. If somebody's a little bit taller, it should be fine. You can take a look from this side. Let's see, I'll move my head all the way back, and you can see how much room is still left for my feet. A decent amount up there. So it's actually a quite comfortable mattress. Up next is what's going to be underneath this bench bed mattress thing. And again, because I'm using that seat frame from the original Honda Element, I could recline and decline it very easily. Okay, so first I needed this little extension to complete the bed, but I also double it as storage for some smaller items, a knife and some flashlights and things like that. But underneath, you'll be able to see is my power station. So what I have underneath here is I actually have two chargers. I have one battery tender for my car battery. I have this MPPT solar charger, and this is a really efficient solar charger. It's a little bit bigger, but it's very efficient. Um, I have a 2,000 watt inverter, and all this stuff, I'll leave links in the description for everything that I have in this car. I have a mini 100 amp hour lithium ion phosphate battery. It's a mini, so it's not as big as a normal one, and you can see it actually fits really well. And in addition to that, I still have some room for storage for assorted things. On the side here, I have some DC ports. I have my power voltmeter right there, and I have an accessories type port, cigarette lighter, and here there's some USB ports for that, and the power switch. Here I have access to the power inverter. You can see there's a plug in there, and we're going to visit that in a little bit, but that plug is underneath here, and that powers that's connected to my microwave and anything else I might want up there, but that's another story. And what charges everything, you guys already saw. It's the solar panels that I have up there, 200 watts. And it hides away, really compact, flat, and easy underneath my bench and bed. Okay, we'll bring this back to bench mode. And in this bench mode, now it's actually quite comfortable for me to access my cabinet and my kitchen and sink and things like that. You can see I have plenty of feet room around here, and I made it like that. So I suspended the cabinet so that there's plenty of room for me to move in and out. And even this water container, you know, if you're camping somewhere that doesn't need water, then you're fine. You know, you can slide fully in and out, and you could see there's a lot of room here for me to stretch out and move around my cabin. Another feature I have is that I have these legs that, let's say you're on a bumpy road or something like that, and you really want to make sure everything is secure. I actually have these legs that do come down, and they'll make your cabinets even more secure when you're on a bumpy road or anything like that. That works out great. And honestly, if you wanted to just leave it like that all the time, that's okay too, because you still have the same feet room. You just have to, move your foot around those things. So if you want that added support all the time, that's okay too. And you could just leave it down all the time. And I did make it so that the water jugs does fit perfectly right there still. Okay, underneath, I do have another storage area with this flexible basket right there. So there's still plenty of room. And if you're traveling, you could actually store a bunch of stuff under there if you're going to take it out of your car. All right, so let's move to the cabinets. We'll have a quick walkthrough, but basically I built the cabinets onto the frame of the car. There's some storage over here for some bigger items, soap, insect spray, sunblock, and things like that. I have Reflectex on the back just to cover up the window. Let's move around. Here's my microwave. And over here I have a coat hanger, storage stuff, some lights, a light switch. We'll look at the light switch later. And there's also this table extension. If I want to open that, this is actually a really nice cooking surface because I could access this window, use this fan to blow out all the steam and smell, and it actually works out great. We'll go over what that's being used for later. This is not just a post to mount my fan, but it's actually strategic for something else too. To collapse the desk extension, real easy, and it's out of the way. So I have, of course, very limited space, so I really want to maximize my space. So I have this little extra storage shelf up here, and I have, I could store my coffee maker up there. Let me show you the coffee maker. Just goes like that, and you can make yourself coffee in the morning. There's also a larger cutting board up here if I need more cutting board space. There's a mirror. I could use this mirror to make myself pretty, but this has a different purpose too, and I'll show you that later. Over here, I have a spice rack with spices and things like that. I have a light switch. I have a red light and a white light. So the red light works really well when you don't need a lot of light and it's dark, and it helps your eyes adjust if you want to switch in and out. I have some USB ports right here. Here's the white light. Here's a towel, paper towel holder. And the nice thing about this is that when I'm driving, I don't want it to shake around and loose, but I could just kind of move it up and it'll rest there and the paper towels won't keep rolling out. Next up is this sink that I really like. So it's just made from a IKEA container. So it's got a lid and I have my cutting board on top of it. And you can see it's just a very, very basic sink. And here's a water dispenser, and I also have a soap dispenser. And for the water dispenser, we're going to come down here. Remember that water container? I just take that out and put in my tube. and it's ready to go. We'll come up here and turn on the water dispenser. Needs to prime first. And once it primes, there's a healthy flow of water. I have plenty of water, soap dispenser, and a functional sink. We'll take a look at where that water flows. All right, so the water flows right out from underneath my car like that. And I'll show you I'll show you from a previous video what that looks like the way I routed. But you can see there's some plumbing that comes down here and goes underneath the wheel well. So let's take a look what it looks like underneath from a previous video. You can actually see the water flowing through my clear pipe and out underneath the car. Another look at the way it looks. Like I said, it's plenty of room. Let's get the cover back on. So this is a really cheap sink that I was able to make with just a IKEA container box. So let's move into our cabinets. So here, I don't want any knobs that my clothes get caught on. So what I do is I just have, these rope knobs, and this will allow you to lock it. And in addition to having carabiners, um, it'll allow me to lock the cabinets so that if I'm going over a bumpy road, the cabinets aren't going to swing open. So that's why I just leave the carabiners on here. Well, let's look underneath. All right, so you can see I have my sink on this shelf, and there's the plumbing that goes down. Yes, I have actually a decent amount of storage. Steel pots, cups, instant ramen, kettle. You can see I got some more room to put things here. And let's take a look in the back. There's a decent amount of room back there. And there you see my soap dispenser too. My soap dispenser right there. So there's a decent amount of room back here. And this is the stove that I use uh, for cooking. Here's the stove. It's a really compact stove. And again, I'll leave a link in the description for the stove if you're interested. And I did a cooking video where I used this stove, and it worked out great. All right, so in addition to these cabinets here, I have a drawer here. And you can see, I could actually hold a good amount of stuff underneath this drawer right here. A toothbrush and some cooking supplies, chopsticks. And underneath is this microwave. This is, I think, a 0.8 cubic feet microwave. It's small, compact, and it uses around 1100, 1200 watts, and it actually works well. Again, my power system powers this microwave up, no problem at all. Up here, I have another cabinet. I got a temperature humidity sensor right here. And in the cabinets, you can see I got some room for storage. That's an electric heater I have up there, and some rice and coffee grinder, some fuel. You can kind of see my wiring back there. I didn't care to clean that up because it's all hidden. Clicks into there. And the wiring connects to this light here, the white and the red light. Here I have white and red, and I'll show you a video where I demoed the lights that I have. All right, I think the lights are working great. Got the lights on this side, and the nice thing is that it's not too bright, but the pack comes with so many of these light strips that I could easily add more lights to this side if I want. I don't think I want to, because I just don't want it to be too bright, but I can if I want. So, if I want to come in on this side, I could flip that switch or flip it back on from either side. So that's nice. I could turn it on from this side or the other side. All right, so let's try the red lights. Okay, so this is with the red light. So let me turn off the whites. All right. So this is how it looks with the red lights. I think that's pretty nice. So when you don't want it too dark, uh, I'm going to use this red light, and that's going to really allow my eyes to adjust to the darkness when I go in and out a lot easier. All right, cool. Let's go. I already mentioned the coat rack and the hat rack. Remember I told you there was a dual purpose for this that I'd come back and share with you. And of course, you saw the first one was that I would just use this as a mirror mount with the magnetic strip on the back. But also, what I could use this for is a bit of entertainment. I got my iPad here with the same metal thing on the back, and now I could sit and watch a movie or, surf the net a little bit. But I could also extend the arm this way, and then I could incline the seat up a little bit, and I could sit back, relax, and watch a movie like this. So, and of course, I could lay down and watch the movie too and fall asleep. That works too. So you can see, it's pretty flexible what I can do, and you just take off the iPad and then you swing the arm back and it's out of the way. So finally back here, I also have some more storage right here with this bungee net. There's a lock, unlock, so there's an escape hatch right here, so I could actually get out too. Honda Elements don't come with that stock, so this is also something that was added, not by me, but by the previous owner. But I thought this would be a good place for some extra storage. Coming over to the side of the car over here, I have a few items over here. Um, on this door over here, I have a few things. I have these fans that's hanging on this rod, and I have this basket here. And this basket opens and closes with the door, so it's mounted to the door itself. And I have some assorted stuff in there. I have these fans that I just clip onto this rod right here. And that rod has a different purpose, and we could look at that purpose in a little bit. But right here, I have my blackout shades. And with magnets, they install really easy onto my car. And really quickly, I could get into stealth mode if I do this to all the windows. You can see just the magnets holding it up, and it covers up really nicely. But really, the best thing about this is how small these shades will roll up and how they'll fold away on each door. Look at that. It's just that big, and I just put it right there in the little door handle. Does not take up a lot of space at all. You can see the basket down there. There's room for some goodies, hand sanitizers and stuff. But here is my shower. And this shower, I'm going to show you from a previous video that I demoed it, but I'm going to use this curtain rod right here. And we're going to set up the shower. All right, let's try it out. Zip it. All right. It's a little short, but I think it's okay. All right, I think there's actually a really decent amount of room up here. It will touch my head, but that's okay, right? No big deal. I think it's going to be all right. And of course, you're probably not always going to shower on nice pavement like this. So I got this so that you could keep your feet nice and clean while you're showering. Push it on the other side like that. And then we can start our shower. All right. And of course, we got that plate for me to put my feet on. And we could have a nice shower. Yes, bathroom too. So let's try that. For the toilet, I'll leave a link in the description for one of these too, but it's a pretty easy toilet. You just open this thing up, put in the center plate, and that holds the structure. And put it in there, and you do what you need to do. From the video, you see that this is just a really inexpensive way to have a quick and easy outdoor shower, and everything fits into this little bag, so it packs away really nicely, and it just fits right here within this little slot. and I'm able to store the curtain rod just like this, but it actually doubles as a fan clip that I have here to store my fans and clip it when I'm using them. But in addition to having the fans to cool me off, I have an AC unit down there, and we're going to take a look at that AC unit in a little bit. But the fans aren't my only ways to cool this car. I apologize for the voiceover, but my mic ran out of batteries. But what can I do? So this is going to be my mobile office area, and you can see there's plenty of room here to have a mobile office when I'm traveling around, when you're camping outside. Maybe you could just work or something like that on the road. This is a really nice mobile station. There's plenty of room, and underneath here I have my AC unit, and let me show you that. So I built my table around the AC unit so it fits the AC unit perfectly, and when it's not being used, it stores away nicely. Here is my laptop holder. There's a fan on this laptop holder, but you don't have to use it. But you just slide in, I just slide in my laptop, and now I have a really nice laptop mount holder that I could work on. This could be your mobile office. For me, this height works really well, but you could also adjust the height of the laptop, and you can move it around a little bit. You could swing it in and out and recline a little bit as you work. You know, bring the chair up, of course, so you have a backrest. But yeah, I think it works out great. When it's not in use, you just swing it over there, and then you could access my AC unit down here. Let me show you that. I built this desk with this open area like this so that I could store the AC unit and easily move it in and out. Let me show you what I mean by that. See that with this open area, you could just move it out. And when it's in use, I put the AC unit up here. So when you're sitting at this desk or when you're laying down, this is going to blow just basically right at you. You know, there's a vent right there, and here's the intake. And if you're on your laptop, just swing it around, and then you could have the vent blowing in your face. I will show you from a previous video how I have the ducts hooked up to the window and all the ducts can vent out the window. I think that looks pretty good. Let's look at it on this side. Okay. Right here. Connect it here. Okay. That's the way it's gonna look when the ducts are plugged in. And then I have my AC unit right here. So now let's put this away, and it slides in just as easily as it slides out, nice and neat, and it is out of the way. On the other side of this table is this refrigerator, and this is an armrest refrigerator, so it's kind of narrow and a little bit higher, which works perfectly in this situation. So I was able to store it right here, so it's out of the way. I could still access it from the front side. With the refrigerator there, there's still some more space I could squeeze out of this area, and it's down here where your feet would be in the passenger seat. But I have some storage of some bigger items, I have my rice cooker, some pots and pans that are a little bit bigger down there, and some plates and things like that. It's a good place to shove assorted junk. Elements come with some extra handy storage area. I got my toolbox, first aid kit, again, the blackout curtains. This side I got a tripod lamp, your good knives, back scratcher. So let's look down here underneath the bed bench, and that's where I have some assorted stuff stored. Here are the ducts for the AC unit. Let me move this up so it's a little bit easier for us to see. But there are two ducts, and one fit inside the other, and the power cable fits inside of that. So really the storage is really nice and neat, and I got this chair right here, this really lightweight chair. It actually works really well. I shove that under there, and you can see, I guess there's a little bit more room for me to shove a few more items under there if I need to. And I don't have to actually pull everything out to access the stuff because I made this cut of this hole right here so I could pull things in and out without pulling out this bed extension. Well, I may be done building my Han Solo Element camper, my single mobile office camper, but I'm not done building. And you guys know that. I'm going to tear everything apart and build something else after this. But for right now, it's Miller time.